Everybody, welcome to our friends on Instagram, Facebook, and in Zoom. Shalom, shalom. Okay, we'll just wait just a moment to be joined by more people over here. Okay, let's get going. Welcome, friends and neighbors. The topic today we'll be looking at is how to get the good times to last. That's going to be our topic. And what do we even mean by those words? Well, we've just come through a pretty intense time in the Jewish calendar. We've come to the end of the month of Tishrei, which began with Rosh Hashanah. And then 10 days later into Yom Kippur. And then 4 days after that, we had Sukkot. We had so much going on. And then we finished off with the culmination of Shmini Atzeret and Simchat Torah. And this is really an analogy for life. We go through amazing events in our lives. We have so much satisfaction, so much enjoyment. And then, boom, it comes to an end. It just finishes and we go back to regular life. How are we meant to capture the inspirational moments of life in order to bring them with us into our daily affairs that come afterwards? Because being inspired during Sukkot, pretty easy. We sing and we eat and we spend time with our family in the Sukkah. Feeling inspired on Simchat Torah, also pretty easy. Dancing with your community, with the Torah, even in days of Corona where we're definitely distanced from each other, but you still feel the simcha, the happiness. And by the way, any event, you go through a wedding, whether your own or a friend's or a family member's, you have an amazing experience, you go out for an amazing night or a great vacation, and then what happens? You go back to regular life, and it feels like you're back to where you started. What is the solution over here to the letdowns that come with life after we've had these amazingly inspirational, uplifting moments? There is a great secret over here that I want to share with you. I'm going to start that right now. It's actually a Kabbalistic idea, but it's a very, very beautiful and understandable one that is based upon non-Kabbalistic sources. And it goes like this. Whenever we try to achieve things in this world, in Olam Hazeh, there's always a pattern, what I like to call a 3-phase pattern that we go through. Any accomplishment, any achievement that we've worked, a goal that we've really worked to, always follows the following 3-phase pattern. Phase 1 is the inspiration, the desire to get that thing done. It's a mind thing. Maybe it's in the soul. It's an emotional, psychological desire to achieve something. For example, my wife started running and she applied for the marathon. Unfortunately, it was delayed, so she couldn't actually run it this year. But anyway, so she trained hard and she worked hard and she had to wake up early in order to get training before work, put a lot of effort into it. When she thought up the idea of running the marathon, she felt great. Any marathon runner does. Oh, I can't wait. I'm going to run the marathon. You don't picture yourself slogging away. You picture yourself going through the finish line with that ribbon and the time above you and the gold medal and breaking through. But that's usually how we picture it. We don't picture ourselves schlepping along breathing, and we definitely don't think, oh my God, what did I do? Why did I take on all this training? Because the moment of inspiration, the moment of what's called in Hebrew, yachol, potential, is always in your mind, and everything is always open to you. Anything is possible when it's purely in your mind. That's phase 1. Phase 1 is like, it's the first day of medical school. I have many students who became doctors and dentists, and they always say, first day, you're so excited, you get your lab coat, you got your pens ready. Or I teach college, the first day everyone's there, dressed well, done up, on time. And then as the semester progresses, things become challenging. I mean, you're not always on so time, and then you're forgetting things, and things become difficult. That's called phase 2, which in Hebrew is called bepoel, actualizing what you wanted to achieve in phase 1. So phase 1 is a thought phase. I want to achieve something, run a marathon, become a doctor, take on a vacation. We all have thousands of ideas that pop into our heads. Actually, that's the arise expression, right? In Yiddish, it's called an Einfall. An idea falls in. I want to just achieve something. Phase 2 is the hard work of actualizing that which you thought about in phase 1. That's phase 2. The hard work that goes into making it. That's the years of studying to become a doctor and all the ups and downs that go with it. It's the hard work of waking up early every morning and training for your marathon. Whatever achievement you want to do, by definition, there's always going to be a letdown in it. What's phase 3? Phase 3 is the mature enjoyment of achieving what you thought about in phase 1 and what you worked hard in phase 2 and ending up with a final result. That's phase 3. Many people get stuck in phase 1 and never actualize their potential. Many people over get stuck in phase 2 and just get stuck in the hard work and never manage to complete, never manage to get over the finish line. Let me give you a scientific language for this. Phase 1 is the thesis. Phase 2 is the antithesis, the opposite. You couldn't get more different than phase 1 to phase 2. Phase 3 is the synthesis, bringing together what you thought about in phase 1, what you worked hard at phase 2, and then achieved in phase 3. Now, this is one of the secrets of life. Phase 3 is never as good as you thought it would be. It just isn't. This world was set up in a certain way. Why? We can ask God one day when we have direct communication and a conversation. But this world was set up that phase 3 is never as good as you thought it would be. Just the way the physical world works. You look forward to the pizza. You can't wait to eat it. And then you have one bite and it's good. Third bite, but the 15th, right? The 15th bite of steak. And then you're like, I'm done. It's just never as good. Everything in this physical world starts with inspiration, and then there's always like a letdown. There's always a letdown that comes with it. This is represented, by the way, by our 3 forefathers. Avram Avinu, Abraham, is classic phase 1. Phase 1 is all about the inspiration to achieving something. I feel great about this. Avram Avinu, what did Abraham do? He said, I'm going to teach you monotheism, teach about God, and you went around meeting thousands of people, bringing them back to God. Phase 2 is his son Yitzchak. Yitzchak was the opposite. Avram was chesed. Yitzchak was gevurah, he was strength. He's the hard work. He's the effort you need to put into the day that you're doing and the job you're trying to do, right? You got to, phase 2, you're killing yourself. Actually, Isaac, Yitzchak, literally killed himself for the cause. He was up, right, on Mount Moriah, willing to sacrifice himself. Yaakov is the synthesis. He's the third, and he is the synthesis of his grandfather Abraham and his father Isaac, and he was able to bring it back together into phase 3. So phase 1 is Abraham. He's all Mr. Inspiration. Phase 2, Yitzchak, Gevurah, strength, is the opposite of his father. He was all about the hard work of life, really killing himself for the cause. And Yaakov is the synthesis of all 3. Now, if you picture the number 3, you never picture it in Jewish thought as 1, 2, 3 dots or 1, 2, 3. It's always a triangle, 1, 2, 3. Right? This is the perfect stand, you know? A 2-legged table cannot stand, but a 3-legged table can stand. You need 1, 2, and 3 in order to have something perpetually into the future, right? To stand, to be Mekayim, to last into the future. So Abraham and Isaac were opposites. They were both trying to achieve the same thing, greatness and closeness to God, but they're very different ways of doing it. Yaakov, however, synthesized his grandfather and his father. Avram was all chesed. Yitzchak was all strength, but we have to synthesize the two together. Phase 1 is inspiration. I can achieve anything. Phase 2 is, okay, let's see it. Let's do it. Let's see you actually do it. Phase 3 is picturing what you wanted in phase 1, but knowing that it's not as great as you thought it would be, right? It's the vacation. You go, I don't know, your average man on vacation, and they wake up in the morning and you feel great. Okay, what should we do today? 1,000 options. We can go sailing, hiking, walking, visit a museum. Right? You talk, you never get to phase 2. And then eventually you'll pick one thing, and in Kabbalah, hope you appreciate this analogy, phase 1 is called male. Phase 1 is called male, not man, right? Male. Phase 2 is called female. And phase 3 is the synthesis of both coming together. What's maleness? Think about male. Think about it in the reproduction or production of life. The male gives millions of options, right? In the production of life and having children. The male brings sperm and there's millions and millions in there. Classic phase 1. So many options, so much to do, so many good things to choose from. What's phase 2? Phase 2 is female. Phase 2 is, this is so amazingly beautiful. Phase 2 is I have millions of options, so much potential, but I'm going to take one. I'm going to take one from those millions of options, just one small little piece, one small little piece of genetic code. I'm going to impregnate it, put it into the egg, sit with it for 9 months, work at it and work at it and work at it until we get, which is hard work, right? And then move into phase 3, which is the birth of life. After all that hard work, the great satisfaction that comes through the hard work. That is male and female. Okay, not always man and woman, right? There are many males who are phase 2 and many females who are phase 1. But the idea of male and femaleness is represented by these 3 phases. It's like I have a wine store right across the street from me, right? The Grapevine. And sometimes they have wine tasting events. I like wine tasting events because it's free wine. And I go there, I can walk over there so I can drink more than I probably should. My friend, Mr. Smith, owns this particular store, kosher wine store. And they have a little bit of wine over there. And you make a blessing and you taste the wine. Oh, this is delicious. Oh, this is the best wine. You drink a little bit more, a little bit more. Then you're like, can I try some more? He's like, sure you can. Here, take a little bit more wine. Take a little bit more, you try it. You're like, oh, that's great. Can I have a glass? He's like, no. Now you got to buy the bottle. Now you got to buy the bottle. Phase 1 is a taste. You taste the wine. Oh, it tastes so good. I love it. That's classic phase 1. You didn't achieve that. That was a free gift. Phase 2 is, you want to have it again? Now you got to buy it. Now you got to buy it. And phase 3 is you're going home with a bottle of wine. And this is the secret to life. The secret to life, which I wish I would have known as a young person, but it's never too late. The secret to life is that you're given a gift, literally a gift, and it's free. It comes in the form of a moment of inspiration, maybe an afternoon or a day of inspiration. Then that gift is taken away and you're told to do it yourself. Now let's see you do it. Now you have to work at it. Phase 3 is the self-achieved satisfaction of what you thought about in phase 1, but was never as good as you thought it would be. But now it's yours. Now you own it. It's like when the Jewish people left Egypt. What did we do? Nothing. God did it all. 10 plagues. And we left with signs and wonders, and God took us out. The whole Exodus, the whole Yetziat Mitzrayim was so amazing. And there was signs, and there was blood, and frogs, and lightning, and everything was fantastic. And then we had Kriyat Yam Suf, splitting of the sea. And then what? Then we should go straight to Israel, right? Get on the El Al plane and fly straight in, right? Arrive in Jerusalem. That's not what happened. After that amazing event, God dumps us in a desert for 40 years. It's like, wow, that's not fair. Everything was going so well. What does God say? What did you do? You just walked out of Egypt. I'm going to leave you in a desert for 40 years. Now it's your turn to achieve it. That's the secret. God gives us a gift, that first taste of wine, that exodus from Egypt, that first day of school. You feel excited, you feel great. first day of medical school, first day of law school, you feel good, first day of marriage, you get given a gift, and then God takes it away and says, you do it. Have you ever seen a baby learning how to walk? You see it very clearly there as well, right? The mummy and daddy, when the baby starts, first of all on its back, then on its stomach, then it starts to crawl, and eventually it stands up and holds onto the table. And then the baby stands up, and what does mummy and daddy do? They hold their hands, right? They hold their hands. And what do the mummy and daddy say? Come walk. And the baby slowly pushes a 1, and then 2, and then 3. And what do mummy and daddy always do? What do the parents always do as they're walking their lovely, cute little baby boy or girl? They let go. What does the baby invariably always do? Fall over. Now, put yourself into the baby's mind. The baby's like, wait a minute. What just happened over there? I was walking. You were holding on to me. I was doing an amazing job. And then you let go. And I fell over. And now I'm sitting on the floor crying. And what do the parents say? No. You're making a mistake. You weren't walking. I was the one who was walking. I was doing the walking. Your misunderstanding of what walking really is led you to believe that you were walking, but really I was walking by holding your hands. You weren't walking. I was doing the walking. But it was like, yeah, but once you let go of me, I fell over. And what do the parents say? Now you're walking. I'm like, what? I just said I fell over. Goes, that's you walking. That is exactly what happened to the Jewish people when they left Egypt. It's exactly what happens on the first day of medical school. Any gift that we have, any inspiration, God gives it to us. It's that little shot of wine, the free taste. I'm going to walk with you. But I can't walk with you forever because you're never going to learn how to walk. You can't be a 15-year-old or a 20-year-old, unfortunately many people are, who are still being carried by their parents. That's not good parenting. At some point, the parents and God will let go and say, now you do it. Like, but this is so painful and horrible and I'm not enjoying this. And God's like, yeah, I know. But if you don't go through this challenge, you haven't created anything. I've just done it all myself. And that's not what you're in this world to do. You're in this world in order to make yourself great. And I can't do that for you. You got to do that yourself. I can only carry you a part of the way. And at some point, you have to do it. The analogy I like to use as a person who's performed many weddings, at this point in my life, probably 150 weddings over the years, is marriage. Marriage is the and I wish I tried to explain to every single couple who I marry, before I marry them, that this is what happens. What is a wedding day? Think about it. What a strange thing to do. This guy and girl who hardly know each other, even if they've dated for a long time, they still don't even know each other yet, get together and throw this big party that the parents pay for, invite all their friends, and they eat the same chicken, same potatoes, and everyone dances around them for 4 or 5 hours. Then we all go home. Right? Tell me, does that day represent the rest of their married life? I don't think so. Try it. A person gets married, a week later they call up their friends, and like, oh my God, I enjoyed my wedding so much. Could you do me a favor? Could you come to my house, put on your best clothing, and dance around me for 5 hours? What would they say? Are you nuts? What did I do that for? You had your opportunity, that was it. So why would you do it the first day? What exactly were you like tricking me? You were fooling me? And the answer is that we have this thing called a wedding. You know what? Actually, a better time for a wedding. This is my theory. Forget the first day of marriage. Don't let people celebrate the first day of marriage. Instead, if they survive 5 years of marriage without killing each other, then throw a wedding and actually you can invite some of the kids. Maybe wait 10 years. That would be the right time for a wedding, wouldn't it? Mazel tov, you survived 10 years of marriage without knocking each other's heads off. Let's have a party. Everyone's invited and let's dance and celebrate. But we don't do that. We celebrate the first date. Be the first date. You haven't done anything. What did you achieve? All you did was buy an expensive dress, expensive suit, invite lots of people for a free meal, and dance around like crazy people, bouncing up and down, spending a lot of money on a band and a rabbi. What did you do? And yet that's exactly how we start, and that's the right way to do it. Why? Why is that the right way to start a marriage? Because the first day is the first phase. It's the free gift. You haven't done anything yet. It's that first moment of inspiration. It's that free cup of wine. It's the exodus from Egypt. It's Avraham Avinu saying, let's go. Let's start the journey. That's why Abraham was the one who journeyed so much. Let's just start. Where are we going to end up? I don't know. But let's get the beginning right. Then what happens? Then you have the morning after. And that's when no one's there. No more parents, no more party. Presents have all been opened. And now you're stuck together. You've got to figure it out. But this happens to be why I'm against honeymoons right after we get married. It's a big letdown. A lot of people have honeymoons right after they get married. And what happens? They get into big fights. It's such a letdown after phase one. All that time, it's just me and you now. Now what do we do? Alright? It's like, why are socks on the floor? Don't tell me where to put my socks. Alright? I don't do the laundry. Do the dish. That's why Shiva Brachot, the 7 blessings, 7 days of partying afterwards, is actually a come down and prepares you for the rest of your life. Side point, not for now. So phase one is always going to be an imaginary excitement of inspiration, a good time. Phase two is always, the Kabbalah says, it's like a funnel. It comes down and now there's a reduction. What started as exciting and good now is just not as good as you thought it would be. It's never as good. The party's never as good as you thought it would be. The vacation's never as good as you thought, no matter what everyone tells you. When they come back from vacation, they're like, oh, it was the best time ever. Here, look at me and my Facebook photos. I don't want to see your Facebook photos. 500 of them, no one's interested. Don't bother posting all your photos. I'll see one picture and then just move on. It's never as good no matter how you pretend you think it is. Life is never that good because it's not meant to be. This world always ends in disappointment. Listen to this. Even our physical bodies describe this, right? When you touch something, you feel it. And then after a moment, you don't feel it again. Isn't that true? It's like, try it right now if you're watching. Fold your arms. You feel comfortable when you fold your arms. Now try the following experiment. Fold your arms the other way. Instead of right over left, do left over right, or vice versa. It feels weird, doesn't it? It's like, it doesn't feel right. Why is that? Because God set up this sense of touch that you feel comfortable, and then you don't feel it anymore. Or smell. You smell something, it smells terrible. You go to the zoo. I go to the zoo with my kids, I'm like, oh, woof, this monkey cage, right? But you're there long enough, you don't smell it anymore. Or you hear those car alarms go off, right? In the city, there's an annoying car alarm. And then after a while, you don't hear it anymore. It becomes like white noise. When do you hear it again? When it turns off. So you touch something, the feeling goes away. You smell, you taste something. Again, the first bite of pizza is amazing. By the 10th, Dayenu, I'm all done. Our physical bodies are set up according to this 3-phase system. First of all, you get a touch, a feel, and then it fades into white noise. What are you meant to do? You're meant to get through the hard work of phase 2. You're meant to take that little one piece of genetic material, sit with it, and make it real. The end result may not be as good as you thought it would be. It never is, but it's yours. You earned it. You achieved it. You own it. And that's what you're meant to do. So God will take us up to a certain point, and the first day of marriage is great, and maybe the first week, but invariably, you're going to get into a fight in the first year of marriage. And I get lots of phone calls from couples like, I don't understand. When we first met, when we were dating, and right after our marriage, everything was fantastic. And then this pretty much always happens. It's not as good anymore. Right? He's annoying me. She's irritating me. He makes all these weird noises, especially while he's asleep. What happened over here? And the answer is, now you've entered phase 2. Now the work begins. It's not enjoyable. It's not meant to be enjoyable. You mistook phase 1 for phase 2. You thought you achieved phase 1. What did you do? You invite a lot of people. In most cases, your parents pay for the wedding. You got to have a party. That's not marriage. That's a wedding. dating is not marriage. People think, well, we were dating, it was fantastic. Of course it was. That's phase one, no responsibility. You're not living together, just go around, do whatever you want. That's not the hard work. The hard work begins and then you have to achieve it. That is this movement from phase one to phase two. Unfortunately, we live in a generation where everyone wants to live in phase one. Everything's a free gift. Everything's amazing. It's all free samples. We all get to taste it. We all get to enjoy ourselves, right? Relationships with no consequences. Hanging over there. Relationship over there. Sex over there. It's all good, right? You get a piece of cake. You lick off the icing and throw the cake away, right? You give a child, right? What do? I give my son a piece of bread with peanut butter on. He licks the peanut butter, throws the bread away. The peanut butter was there for you to eat the bread. By you licking the peanut butter off and just throwing the bread away, you missed the whole point. I wanted to eat the bread. I got to put some chocolate spread on top, right? But I wanted to eat the bread. You can't just live on the icing. You can't just live in phase one. Many people try to go through life existing in phase one. It's a problem. There's people, by the way, who also try to live in phase two. And they're always working, never reach a significant achievement of self-satisfaction. It's also a problem. The phase one people are a problem. And there's people stuck in phase two. And by the way, I know people are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s who just cannot get out of phase one. And similarly, people who are stuck in phase two and never achieve a full sense of enjoyment and achievement in this world. That's one of the dangers of being stuck in phase one and phase two. Let me ask you a question. Why does phase one even exist? What's the point of it? If it's going to end up in hard work, why not just start with the hard work and finish? Khalas, dayenu. Why do we even need phase one at all? What is the purpose of phase? It's like a trick. It's like God's playing a trick on us. Here you go. Here's your free gift. Boop, I'm going to take it away. Now you do it. Forget phase one. Let's just jump into phase two. Let's just jump straight in and that'll be good enough. The answer to this question is so important. And this is, as the title of this talk describes, is how to make the good times last. Meaning how to get phase one and put into phase two. The purpose, the meaning of phase one is not there to trick us or to irritate us. It's there to show us what can be, but doesn't exist yet. That desire to run the marathon. I feel so good. My friends are encouraging me and I feel amazing. That first day of marriage, the wedding, I feel so good and amazing. I look good. I smell good. Everyone's celebrating with me. First day of medical school. First day of dinner, whatever it is. When you're in the hell that is phase two, when things are going really, really bad and you cannot take it and you want to give up, stop, turn around, look at phase one and be like, that's my goal. That's my vision. That's what I'm going for. I thought I achieved it. I realized I didn't. I realized that was just a gift that was given to me. But that's what I want. I know that through my hard work, I have a vision of where I want to be in maybe a week, a month, a year, 5 years. But that vision, that phase one gift that is given to us has given us some vision of where we want to be and the inspiration to get us through the challenging and difficult times that come through any form of achievement. I call this the photo album theory of weddings. What is the point of a photo album at a wedding? What is the idea of a wedding album? This isn't real, right? These people dancing around me. I'm never going to look this good. She's never going to look that good. Okay, my wife does, thank God. She's always more beautiful every day. She may be watching. But in the end, that experience of a wedding we never really experience again. So what's the point of it? The point is that when you're struggling through marriage, which we all do at times, stop, open the album. First of all, wedding albums able to show our kids, you see. Abba and Emma weren't always this fat, and I used to actually have hair until you people came along and irritated it away from me. But besides that, the wedding album is showing us this was something we can achieve. This is where we want to be. Then it was a gift. Now we're going to make this real. Is it as good? Is any marriage as good as you thought it would be? No, never is. But in some respects, it's better because we achieved it. We made it happen. And that's why the wedding has to appear on the first day of marriage, because it's our vision, of our friends. It's our launch party. It's when the ship is about to be launched into the water and it's safe and comfortable. And I've said before, I'll say it again, ships are very safe in the harbor, but that's not what they're meant for. And so when you go out to the choppy seas, that is life, you stop, you look back. Those people who were with me on day one, my family and friends when they launched me, I know they're still with me. And I stop in the middle of phase 2 and I turn around and I'm like, that is what I want and that is what I can achieve. So the secret to life, my friends, the way to get the good times to last is not try to recreate phase 1, but to look back and to feel inspiration from it. A moment of inspiration can go a long way. Rav Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, a very famous Italian Kabbalist and very famous author, wrote a number of books. One was called Derech Hashem, one was called Mesilat Yesharim. You can buy them in English, The Path of Just. He says like this, and the way of God, he says, you know what life is? Life is, his introduction to one of his books, life is standing on a mountaintop in the dark, cold rain. You feel terrible. You're lost, you're hungry, and you're cold. That's life, he says. But suddenly, a bolt of lightning comes out of the sky and lights up the terrain, and you know exactly how to get home. For that one moment, you're like, I got it. And as lightning works, as soon as it appears, it disappears. And now what do? Now you've got to capture that one moment in time to help you remember how to get home. That's life. I know we tell our kids life is fantastic, it's great. It's not. It's really hard work. It's annoying and it's frustrating. But there are moments of inspiration. It could be a class we heard. It could be someone we meet. Small things, right? It's that first bite of pizza, right? It can't last forever. Nothing, no good times last forever. What you're meant to do is take that one moment of inspiration and use that feeling to guide you through the challenges of phase 2. And sometimes you can create those moments and sometimes you can't. Sometimes they come to you and sometimes they don't. Again, it could be something you hear, something you saw, but it's momentary. Take it with you and it will get you through phase 2 until you reach phase 3, which is the mature enjoyment of having achieved phase 1 yourself. That, my friends, is the secret to life, universe, and everything, and how to get the good times to last. Okay, thank you for joining us. Hope you got something out of that. I will see you all, God willing, next week for more adventures into getting better at being you. And actually next Wednesday, we'll be discussing the topic of how not to be a control freak. So join us next Wednesday at 12 for that one. Have a great and successful week. Thank you and shalom.